Hare Krishna and welcome everyone to our weekly Bhagavad Gita session. we will um, we will will discuss topic for today's discussion is again the dance of diligence and dependence in ashrama. That's the additional word, and we will take a look at what does it mean and why it is relevant for all of us. But essentially, what we intend to do today is we'll go through the verses. We have few new devotees joining from some other groups also, so we will go through for the benefit of everyone. We'll just go through the verses, few some of the verses from Bhagavad Gita, and to understand what are we expected to do and in different stages in our life, and what is the guidance of Bhagavad Gita, what Bhagavad Gita how Bhagavad Gita is guiding us, what is that it is telling us. Then we will take some of the real life situations and we will try to apply those teachings to our own life, and draw some learnings out of it. So this is, and half of the class will be I will be speaking, and the rest of the half typically we want to spend time in um, hearing, so that all of you can all of you can participate in the uh, all of you also can participate in the group discussion, and let's have uh, let's have all around discussion about all the topics that we wish to cover today. So, dance of diligence and dependence. What do you mean by diligence? What do you mean by dependence? The first image, you see the diligence, the hard work with determination. Diligence, the hand coming from above, we are dependent on Krishna. So when to do what and how it is relevant for all of us, because considering our current state, we looked at this. We'll do it for the benefit of everyone, so that just so that everyone come on the same page. We are going to look at some of the verses which signify, which talks about karma and actions to be performed by the living entities. Some of the prominent famous verses that we're going to take a look at, and then we will jump into the group discussion. So request everyone to be patient, request everyone to be alert, and and be ready to contribute in the group discussions when that time will come later. First verse we'll look at is Karmanye Vadikaraste. It comes in second chapter, 47th verse. Very famous verse. Karmanye Iva Adhikaraste Ma Phaleshu Kadachana Ma Karma Phala Hetur Bhur Mate Sangosva Akarmani. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your action. Never consider yourself the cause of the result of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. We'll break this into four parts. First part is Karmandya Iva Adhikaraste. We'll look at this verse a little bit more in detail. The other verses will just make a passing reference. So, Karmanye Iva Adhikaraste, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty. Generally, we think we have a right to the result. Generally, we consider that we have a right to receive our result. I have a right to receive I deserve my salary. And I'm entitled to my salary. I'm entitled to my outcome. I think I have worked hard enough, so I deserve this minimum. So this is how we think in general. But Krishna says the other way around. Krishna says doing your prescribed duty is your adhikar. जैसे बोलते हैं, during election we see that voting is your right, voting is your duty, and you must do it. Similarly, we have to do what is our prescribed duty, and our prescribed duties changes with reference to time, place, circumstances, and also with reference to the different stage of life that we might be in, and we will take a look at that aspect also shortly, that how we are expected to do different things and different phases of our life. So that prescribed duty at a bodily level is dynamic, is always changing. At a level of soul, prescribed duty is same. Savai Ponso Parodharma. भक्ति, अधोक्षज की भक्ति करना, भगवान की भक्ति करना, भगवान कृष्ण की भक्ति करना, दिस इज परोधर्मा. Parodharma is a superior religion. The other religion which are there at a bodily level are called inferior religion, and this is called superior religion. We'll take a look at that, those verses from Srimad Bhagavatam also. Now, uh, so there are duties associated with our body, and those duties, some of those duties are unavoidable. As we go through the different phases of our life, those duties becomes unavoidable, and hence we must figure out how best we must perform those duties. And as we perform those duties, we expect some outcome. So if we are cooking bhoga for Lord, we expect the bhoga to be cooked nicely, puri to be soft, puri to be properly fried, the sweet item to be properly sweet, not too less sweet, the soft items to be soft, hard items to be hard, the dal to be tasty, rice to be nicely cooked. So we expect outcome. For every action we expect outcome. And but Krishna says that ma phaleshu kadachana, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your action. Why? Because ma karma phala heturbhur, that never consider you are not the only doer. Never consider yourself only to be the cause of your activities, the result, cause of result of your activities. Means you're doing few things which is leading to a outcome, but Krishna says in between that there is a third element present, and Krishna later will introduce himself to be that third person. He says, I have to sanction. You may desire whatever, and with that desire you may put in a lot of hard work in that direction, but whether you will succeed or you will fail depends on my sanction. And so there is some role that you play, but your there is no direct correlation between your action and your results. Because if my sanction is something, that is something that you are not aware of, you don't know what my sanction will be. I You may lead a healthy lifestyle, but I will sanction diseases, and then you will fall sick and you will wonder, why am I falling sick? But you will not know that, because you don't control me, I control you. So you don't decide what I should give you. I decide what I'm supposed to give you. Whatever I want, I will give you that. And that is a result why we get what we get. But and we are forced to accept the outcome, no matter how good, bad, or ugly our efforts have been. Sometimes for a pathetic effort we get fabulous result, and for sometime for very outstanding effort we get moderate or no result. And we will look at this with examples also, so that we understand the point very clearly. So but does it mean then I will let me not work only? Because वैसे भी yesterday we were talking that ब्रश करने से भी डॉक्टर के पास जाना पड़ेगा, और ब्रश ना करने से भी डॉक्टर के पास जाना पड़ेगा. तो इफ आई डोंट फील लाइक ब्रशिंग द टीथ, लेट मी नॉट ब्रश द टीथ. इज दैट इज दैट फेयर? Is that fair choice that is available? Is that a choice that is available? Krishna says no, that choice is not available. Never be attached to not doing your duty. Means you must do your duty. You must do your duty. Inactivity is not allowed. So you have a right to perform your duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your action. Why? Because you are not the only doer. Even Krishna is doing. And knowing this, if one says, I will not, then I will not do, let Krishna only do, and let me enjoy, that's not allowed as well. Your inactivity is also not permitted. How do we understand? With example of one, we'll take example. So let's deep dive further on this concept a little bit more, so that we become very clear of this aspect. So the question is, if Krishna has to decide what we get, basis what is he going to decide. When we don't know who is deciding, uh, God is deciding. In general, people know that God is in control. They probably understand that aspect. A lot of people don't even know that aspect, the uh, and that's why they turn away from God. So assuming God is deciding, there has to be a basis on which God is going to take a decision whether to give, what not to give, and to whom. So there could be three options. One is arbitrary, that it can be that law, God may give to some, may not give to some, or there could be a preference. God may be favoring some, unfavoring some, and or third explanation can be there could be logic behind it. It could be driven by some law. So prima facie, when we don't get things very clear, we go deeper. Newton saw fruit falling and he couldn't figure out why it fell down. A lot of people before him also saw fruit falling down, and what did they do? They picked it up and ate it, or sold it, whatever. But nobody thought why fruit fall down, why everything falls down. Is there a law behind it? Is there a mechanism behind it? And that is what Newton did. So prima facie, he saw a fruit falling down. He could have picked it up and ate it and forget about it, but he continued to dig deeper. And then he came up with the law of gravity. Similarly, when we don't understand prima facie some concepts, we can go deeper into those concepts, and then we can make sense. That things will start to make sense. And this is precisely how science functions. Science work on a belief that there is law. Everything is governed by law in the material world, and hence nothing happens in an arbitrary way. Prima facie things may not be very known to me, may not be very apparently understandable, comprehensible to me, but if I go deeper, I will make sense of it. That's precise. That is a premise basis which science functions. So similarly, in the spirituality also, when we don't things when we don't understand things in a prima facie way, apparent way, we go deeper. So take for example of a cricket match. When one team comes to bat, they start their batting with a score of 200 on the scoreboard, and when the second team comes to bat, they start their innings by having zero on the board. Now this is the outcome, and this is the outcome that these two teams are getting, and then we will use the three parameters to understand what could be the possible reasons, and we will analyze every all the three parameters. So one first parameter was, this is arbitrary. इट्स ऑल मैटर ऑफ चांस. ये जैसे लॉटरी लगती है ना, वैसे है. स्कोरर ने ऐसे ही नंबर निकाला, जीरो आया एक टीम के लिए, तो उसने जीरो लगा दिया कि बोलो तुम्हारा टीम का स्कोर जीरो है. देन ही थॉट ऑफ समथिंग एंड ही पिक्ड अप अनदर नंबर, इट वाज 200. देन ही पुट अप 200 ऑन द स्कोर बोर्ड व्हेन द सेकंड टीम केम फॉर बैटिंग. Now we know that in world nothing is arbitrary. Nothing is arbitrary. I can predict when sun will rise tomorrow. If sun can follow my prediction, my mathematical calculation, then how can anything be arbitrary? We see the whole world function under law, and hence this is not a very good explanation, because if I'm going to get personally, if I'm going to get something, some bad result, I should know good reason about it. If I'm going to fall sick tomorrow morning, I should get a good. I want to know good reason about it. Okay, why it happened. We all always go and ask doctor why it must have happened, and then doctor will try and give some logic behind why it must have happened. He will ask, did you if you wake up tomorrow with sore throat and temperature, um, he will ask few questions to understand why it must have happened. He will and he will try to relate. So human beings wants to make sense of life, and we don't believe that everything happens by chance, and just by chance you feel sick. So doctor will try to relate your sickness with some actions you would have taken on the previous day or previous couple of days. You maybe you got wet in rain, or you ate despite of rainy season you ate a lot of ice creams or drank a lot of cold drink, whatever. So he will try to relate. So why he's asking this question? Because we believe that the world function under some law, the world function under some law. So this is by chance is not a very good explanation. Second explanation can be, can so scorer be biased? Scorer prefer likes one team, therefore when that team comes to bat, he put up 200 on the board. When the second team he dislike another team, so when that team came to bat, he put up zero. um, that's also not a very good explanation, because we know if God is in control of this world, and we all believe that there is somebody in control, even atheists believe that the world function under some law. So and the theists believe that that person is God. A lot of people will have different conceptions of God, but people generally will know and believe that somebody is in control. Uh, but that God is all loving and all fair, all equal to all. God, we all, those who believe in God definitely also believe in the fact that God is fair to everyone. We are all God's children and He's equal to everyone. So so he's giving me sickness is something which is not acceptable. Not a very good explanation, because God has to be equal. If he's giving me sickness, he has to give sickness to everyone. But why am I only falling sick when everybody else is not sick? You know, um, so two three friends are walking on the street, and due to rain the roads have become very slippery, and all three friends while walking at night on a slippery road, they all three fall down. All three fall down, and one of them got some minor scratches. He probably just got up and started, and he didn't had major injuries. The second one got a little bit more injury, and there was a swelling, and he had to take care of his hand or leg for a couple of, it was paining for next 2 3 days, and he had to take little medication, but and he had to take a little care. But the third person who fell at the same time, the same place, probably, with the same intensity, with the same velocity, and whatever you can think of, and he broke his bones, and he had to be in fracture for next 6 months, had to undergo multiple treatments to come overcome that aspect. So the three friends, getting the same, doing the same action, and three different results. Now why it could be, I mean, it's bewildering, isn't it? I mean, the third friend should be wondering कि हम एक ही जगह गिरे, हम चल रहे थे, ऐसा नहीं कि मैं दौड़ते हुए गिरा इसके लिए ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट हुआ, एंड आप दोनों खड़े थे, खड़े खड़े गिर गए इसके लिए कम इम्पैक्ट हुआ. All of us practically were doing the same thing, but all three of us are getting three different outcomes of the for the same action. We are getting different results. Now, the third possible explanation we are talking about, we saw first explanation, it could be by chance. We don't believe in chances. We would like to think that the world work under some law. So chance is not a good explanation. Second, bias. भगवान एक को पसंद करता है, इसके लिए उसको माइनर स्क्रैच से छोड़ दिया, दूसरे को थोड़ा कम पसंद करता है, इसके लिए ही मेड हिम सफर a little bit for 1 or 2 days. और तीसरा तो भगवान का पूरा is he God dislike only that person. That's where when that person came, उसका टर्न आया तो उसको तो 6 महीने के लिए बेड रिडन कर दिया. It's not good explanation as well. Arbitrary god or a biased god. That's not good explanation. That the third possible explanation could be, in terms of cricket match, it could be that the team who is starting now, starting their batting with 200 on the board, must have scored well in the first inning, and this could be a test match. This could be a test match, and they did well in the first inning. That's why when they come to bat in the second inning for the second time, they are starting with 200. The first second team who is now coming to bat with zero on the board, they couldn't bat well in the first inning, so they considered lead of 200 runs. That's why when they come to bat on the for the second time, they are starting with zero. So this explanation makes perfect sense. The third explanation makes perfect sense. So it is governed by law. It is governed by law. What we get, what we do, and what we get both are, what we get is definitely governed by law of karma. It is not by chance. By that we have variety in the world. And what is the law of karma? What is the proof of law of karma? Is the variety that we see in the world today. The if law of karma were not to be there, everyone would have looked identical. Everyone, there would have been no individuality. So today we see variety in the world amongst people, amongst if even if you consider the human beings, there is so much variety of people. There are rich people, some are poor people, some are very very poor people, some are healthy, some are diseased, some are born without limbs. Basic limbs of body are also not provided. Some are beautiful looking. We have movie stars, we have models, and we have so many famous personalities considered to be good looking. But and some of them, some of the people are not so good looking, and some people are actually ugly looking. We don't like to look at them. Some are intelligent, some are not so intelligent. Some are gifted with talents and skills and abilities, and some are very ordinary. Some are not so gifted. So, all of us fall in one of these categories. Then, all of us should wonder, ki, what basis what I was given what I have. Whatever I'm having, this is what I was given. Why I was not born in a very rich family where I have where somebody who will take birth in the money family will probably not have to work. Even if he doesn't work for the rest of his life, he'll still enjoy. He can still enjoy if that is the goal of life. So why not everyone get a same starting point in a race, 100-meter or 200-meter race? If one person start race by standing very close to the finish line, while other persons are standing behind at the start line, and this person is likely to win the race because he's so close to the finish line anyway. Why all of us are getting different starts or different different baggage to start our life journey with? And that happens because of the law of karma. Because of the law of karma, so our past karma decides our present life, and our present karma will decide our future life. So objective is to understand and get convinced that we are responsible for our actions. We own our actions. We are accountable for our actions. We whatever we do, whatever we think, whatever we do, we are accountable for that. It's not that nobody is watching. We'll look at some of the other verses. Prakrute girmani gune karmani sarvashah ahankar vimudhatma kartahamiti manyate. The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of the false ego, think himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. कर्मणो यह अपि बोधव्यम बोधव्यम च विकर्मणः अकर्मणश्च बोधव्यम गहना कर्मणो गति ही. Gati, karma gati is very difficult to gahan, is very, very intricacies of karma and the reactions of karma are very difficult to understand. Is it? Will it be very easy for us to understand if tomorrow morning we fall sick and we are detected by malaria? How easy it will be for us to understand which mosquito must have bitten me in the city of Mumbai, because of which I got malaria. So in the city of Mumbai, the place where I suburb where I live, and the whole city of Mumbai where I travel across length and breadth of the city, I might have had encountered mosquitoes at multiple places, and millions of mosquitoes must be there in the city of Mumbai. And which one mosquito, if I have to investigate and I have to desperately find out because I want to take revenge against that mosquito, it will be practically impossible for me to figure out which mosquito bit me because of whom I got malaria. uh, Similarly, which karma I perform because of which I'm getting this result. This three friends, the example, we can go back to that example. The third person will wonder कि ऐसा मैंने कब क्या किया था जिसके लिए मुझे ऐसा रिजल्ट मिला। बाकी दोस्तों को तो कुछ नहीं हुआ, बाकी दो अदर टू डिवोटीज प्रैक्टिकली हैड नथिंग। uh, I mean, उनको तो कुछ भी नहीं हुआ, but I'm suffering. I'm suffering not for one day, 2 day. I'm suffering for next 6 months. I'm bedridden. I'm going through so much pain for the same action that all three of us did, and all three of us got different outcome. So karma and the result of karma and the relationship between the team, between the two, Krishna says, is very gahan. Gahan means very difficult to follow. So what should we do? We should not give it a try at all. Is that no? We should understand. The point is, understand you're responsible for your karma. So while acting, we have to be extremely careful. We have to perform our actions according to the instructions of Bhagavad Gita. This is the whole point Krishna is driving us towards. He says karya akarya vyavasthito tasmat shastra pramanena karya akarya vyavasthito. 16th chapter, last verse, Krishna will रिपीट दिस मैसेज कि क्या करना है, क्या नहीं करना है, ये शास्त्र से सीखो। डू इट according to the instructions given by Shastra, and then we will be safe. Then we will be, that is what we are supposed to do. So, so if you don't do that, then you will, if the third person does not have reference of Bhagavad Gita to go back to, for rest of his life he will wonder कि he will curse God, he will curse the law of nature, he will curse law of karma. He will not understand, because why was I made, why I lost my 6 months of my 6 precious months of my life for for what, किस चीज की मुझे सजा दी। He will never figure it out, and but if he doesn't understand the law of karma, he will never figure it out, and he will spend rest of his life in wondering and becoming very unhappy with God overall, for wasting his 6 months of his life, 6 precious months of his life, um, and letting the other two escape. That is also critical. न च माम तानि कर्माणि निबंधन्ति धनंजय उदासीन वदासीन असक्तम तेषु कर्मसु। तो भगवान भी कार्य करते हैं, तो हाउ डज कृष्णा एक्ट, बेसिस व्हाट कृष्णा एक्ट? कृष्णा सेज आई एम एवर डिटैच फ्रॉम ऑल दिस मटेरियल एक्टिविटीज, seated as though neutral, udasina vadasina. Prabhupada give example that of a judge who is writing decisions basis the evidence that is presented before him. Someday, to somebody he will give a reward, and to somebody he will write hang till death, or for next 15 years let him rot in jail. um, that kind of a harsh. Now, is what is the basis? Evidence, basis the fact, basis our actions, Krishna is deciding the outcome. Now this is for non-devotees. But ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya mahite teshu chapyaham. The same Krishna who act like a judge, act indifferently. आपने ये किया है तो आपको कर्म का फल मिलेगा, and then deliver people whatever they are deserving. But the same Krishna can act in the friendly way. To whom? to his devotees, ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya. अगर तुम मेरे भक्त बनोगे, then I will give you, I will actually favor you. And who can become Krishna's bhakta? Everyone and everyone. So he is, even though he's saying that I am favoring you, he's he is giving equal opportunity to everyone to get this favor, irrespective of your country, irrespective of your community, irrespective of your caste, irrespective of your economic condition, irrespective of your educational background, and irrespective of the fact if you are male, female, everyone is welcome. Welcome to become Krishna's devotee and get favors from him. Otherwise, Krishna is sammoham. I am equal to everyone. I'm not partial to everyone, anyone. So, but if you become my devotee, I will be partial towards you. And therefore, Krishna is inviting all of us to become his devotees. And that way, we can. So, he is, in one sense, he's partial to his devotees, but he's impartial for allowing everyone to become his devotee without any consideration. He's allowing, he wants everyone to become his devotee without any consideration. And he says, those who choose to become my devotees, I will be partial towards them. I will do cheating if need be, for their benefit, for their pleasure, for their for their spirituality, for getting giving them benefit. I will do cheating if need be. So I'm impartial because I'm allowing everyone to become my devotee, and those who choose to become my devotee, I will become partial to them. That is such a beautiful verse. We see example, he was impartial. He was impartial in the sense that he took both Hiranyakashipu as well as Prahlad. He offered both of them his lap. His lap was offered to both Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. But he's partial to Prahlad, and he is giving Hiranyakashipu what he deserved, and he's favoring Prahlad. He's feeding Prahlad with prasad. So what he did was his reciprocation, was not his. So he is equal to everyone in terms of how he deal with them, but in terms of his dealing, he is reciprocal. Why is he reciprocal? Because he is a person. A person will be reciprocal. A law of gravity cannot be reciprocal. The inventor of law of gravity also, if he decides to jump from the building, top of a rooftop of a building, he is going to fall down and break his bones and ribs, and maybe he can die also. Law of gravity does not do favors, because law of gravity is a principle. But Krishna, being a person, can be personal. Krishna, being a person, can be personal. And when I'm personal, I like someone, I don't like others. I can like some behaviors, I may not like some other type of behaviors. I prefer someone over other, and someone can be my favorite while some other people may not become my favorite. And all that happens basis the actions that we are performing. So better to become favorites of Krishna, become better to become dear to Krishna. And Bhagavad Gita is a mean for us to learn how to go closer to Krishna, how to become a favorite of Krishna, how to what by doing what Krishna becomes happy, and we can become his favorite. He can start liking us, loving us. So Krishna, we saw that somebody is keeping track of all my actions, because I forget them. I forget them. I cannot even remember what I ate previous Sunday for lunch. So, how am I supposed to remember all the actions that I'm performing? So, Upad, there has to be a witness who is keeping account for all my actions. And Krishna says, He expands, adds. Paramatma and he sits in the heart of each living entity. And what does he do? Upadrashta Anumanta. Upadrashta is overseeing what the Jiva is thinking, and observing, overseeing, taking notes. Anumanta, permitting, sanctioning. अच्छा, ये तीन फ्रेंड्स चल रहे हैं एंड अभी वो गिरने वाले हैं. नाउ अनुमंता, आई एम सैंक्शनिंग वन पर्सन, लेट हिम एस्केप विथ फ्यू स्क्रैचेस. Second person, okay, let him suffer for 2 3 days. Third person, let him remain sick for next 6 months. I have sanctioned. Krishna is saying, I am sanctioning. Upadrashta, I am overseeing क्या हो रहा है, and Anumanta, I am permitting, I am sanctioning. So this is Krishna's position. Whatever we get, Krishna's hand in is there in it. We should understand that. Without Krishna's hand, not even the blade of grass can move. And we will definitely talk about the incident that happened previous week where more than 200 people are dead through in a plane crash. So even that we should remember that is also sanctioned by Krishna. So उपद्रष्टा अनुमंता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेस्मिन् पुरुषः परः. Diligent first, dependence later. In this whole thing, if we are very much interested in getting results. Key to success is hard work and determination, and we are ready to do anything to get our desires fulfilled, our dreams achieved. And we have goals, we have milestones, and we want to do 100 things in life, and we are prepared to do anything and everything for that. And that's not necessarily bad, but whether or not we get what we want or what we desire for or what we strive for does not only depend on our work. That also depends on Krishna's sanction. Krishna may observe us performing a lot of great activities, lot of endeavor for getting something, and but if sanction is missing, he will not offer us that. So diligence first, dependence later. In in the life, we have to perform activities. We are forced to perform activities, and the outcome of which we get to know only after performance of activities. So therefore, the diligence is to do what we are supposed to do to the best of our ability. That is called diligence. Diligence means to do what we are supposed to be doing. What is our duty? What is my duty? I should do that to the best of my ability. That is called diligence. After having done that, I have to depend on Krishna's sanction. If I have to depend on Krishna's sanction, these three people walking on the streets in rain, how can they be diligent? They can walk cautiously, they can walk carefully, they can walk with proper shoes which can have proper grip, because in rainy season it is expected that roads will become slippery. So it's not a surprise that roads have become slippery. So they can walk with umbrella, they can walk with proper shoes which has good grip, and they can be cautious while walking. These are the things that they need to do to be diligent. But as they are to be dependent, if at all they falls down, there would have been many people who would have walked from that spot and would have without falling down, but these three fell down. Now they also, if they would have done their part, then they will have to depend on Krishna. If Krishna want all three of them to fall down, that will happen. And after falling down, all three may get three different results. That is dependence on Krishna. So taking all precaution is our diligence. But if we fall down and suffer for 6 months, that is our dependence. We are forced to accept the result. Will not even be able to remember when we did what, due to which we are getting what we are getting. Just like we will never be able to figure out which mosquito came and bit us because of whom we got malaria. Will be that difficult for us to figure it out. So diligence first, do what we can do. Dependence later. We'll take a look at a couple of examples quickly. Kamsa was driving chariot of Devaki and Vasudev after their marriage when the Akashvani tag took place. That Kamsa, you fool, Devaki's eighth son will become the cause of your death. And Kamsa immediately pulled his sword out, saying that I will kill you right away, right here. Vasudev could not have prevented that from happening by fighting with Kamsa, because Kamsa was far more powerful. But he got into an argument with Kamsa, debate with Kamsa based on Shastra, what is right by a Kshatriya, for a Kshatriya, and then he convinces Kamsa not to kill Devti on such an auspicious day. She's a woman, she's his sister, and this is the day on which she has got married. So there's no merit in Kamsa killing Devki on such an auspicious day. Instead, he convinced Kansa that if you feel endangered by our children, we will hand over all our children to you as and when they are born, and you decide their fate. You do whatever you want to do with them. And because of Vasudev's nature, and he was famous for being truthful, and his integrity was impeccable. And Kamsa knew all of that, and he decided to spare both of them. So, so Vasudev could save his wife's life, which is his duty. So, what was he doing? He's doing his duty. In this situation, in such a difficult situation, he has to do his duty. And his duty as a husband was to save his wife, to try his best to save his wife. Yena kena prakarena, by whichever means that was possible, his job is to save his wife. If there is a his wife's life is in danger, it is his husband's duty to protect his wife. So that is what he did. He was not thinking that maybe it is Devki's destiny to die on the day of her marriage at the hand of her brother. So why should I stop? He was not bothered about her destiny. What was the reaction that is in store for her to be delivered? He was focused on doing his duty. That is what he did, and that was the right thing. Second example, we have Dhritarashtra and Vidur, where everyone tried giving a lot of advice to Dhritarashtra to avoid war. He was king and he was the father of Duryodhan, and he could have given good he could have prevented war from happening by simply giving 5 villages to Pandavas. But he refused. He's saying Duryodhan refused, and he agrees with Duryodhan. He doesn't take position. Later, so this is where later Vidur uh, again tried giving good counsel to Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra argued back with Vidur, saying that if the Vidura, you're saying the war can bring a lot of destruction, and if any war brings destruction, but we are kshatriyas, we are meant to fight war. And if it is, and you're saying if war will happen, Arjuna, Bhima, they are also powerful, they are also champion warriors, and they can potentially destroy all our dynasty. The entire my all my 100 sons can be killed by Bhima, or all these warriors, all my army can be killed by Arjuna. You're giving me all these reasons, but think about it. If this is what Almighty God wants, who am I to stop it? If this is what Almighty God wants, who am I to stop it? And if this is what Almighty God does not want, then why should I be worried at all? Then it will not happen. So what I do, what I don't do, result is anyway depend is in the hand of that Almighty God, and He's going to do what He wants to do. So why are you after me to take these hard decisions? So Vidur then says, Dhritarashtra, destiny is the outcome of your actions. Destiny determines what outcome you will get as a result of your actions, not the actions by themselves. Actions you need to perform. Dharma, duty you have to perform according to your ashram. Find out where you are in your stage, which stage of your life you are in, and what is your duty, and do that duty diligently. Do that duty diligently. What will happen later is none of your business. So you should be for that you should be dependent on that God. But what to do, what not to do is something that you need to figure out, and you do what is your duty. This is how Vidur explains to Dhritarashtra, and he negates the argument put forward by Dhritarashtra that it is, if it is Almighty's decision, what I do, what I don't do does not really matter. However, that's not the case. Um, so in case of those three friends, had those three friends would not have been cautious, then they themselves would have had to be blamed. If I eat five ice creams today and then tomorrow morning I wake up with sore throat, I am responsible for my actions. I have to understand that if there is an immediate cause which point towards me for the outcome, then I become responsible. It's ultimately sanctioned by Krishna, but in the interim, in the immediate stage, I become accountable, and that's why Dhritarashtra become accountable for the entire war. He became responsible for the entire war, even though ultimately Krishna is responsible, because Krishna wanted to, make sure that everybody gathers in the on the battlefield, and it was by his arrangement everyone was killed, just like everyone was assembled in that aeroplane, and by Krishna's sanction ultimately it was killed. But the immediate responsibility will point towards Boeing. The irresponsible behavior by Boeing as a company, or the aircraft carrier as a company, which could have had some faults that they might have had left unattended, or the precautions that airline would not have taken, which could have led to that incidence of plane crash. But ultimate cause will always be Krishna. But if immediate causes are available, people need to be made accountable for those causes also. So we cannot escape saying that Boeing company, the airline company, cannot escape saying that, oh, it was will of Almighty to make these people killed, so that they got killed. Why you are blaming us? They need to be blamed if they have not done their part, which has led for that plane crash. That they are responsible for. Definitely, if Krishna wants to kill them, he would have killed them. He will kill them anyhow, but at least this airlines would not have become responsible for their death. So if anything that point towards their negligence, which could have led to the destruction or such a plane crash, then even they become accountable. So do your duty, do your dharma first, using your free will to the best of your ability. Then, despite of all precautions, even if the plane had to crash, it will crash. And for that, that's the will of the Almighty, that's the will of Krishna. Then accept the result as the destiny and tolerate. So the dance of diligence and dependence in ashrams, various ashrams we may belong to. Let's take a 360-degree view of our life, a 360-degree view, um, where we will see how we start. It's on the scale of 180 degree, but essentially it's going to give us a 360-degree view, and we will see soon why. This is how we start. This is where we start. We're learning to walk. We are learning to walk. And then come a stage where we are expected not to wet our trousers. We are expected to be, we grow up, we start going to school, we are expected to have toilet manners. Then come a stage in our life where we have a lot of friends. Our life Friends become our life. Practically, we want to be with them all the time. We want to have fun with them all the time. Major time in our life will also go in the studies. Major time, and after studies, we'll probably get some degrees, we'll get some job, and we will also get married. We begin a new phase in our life, and that uh, go on where we will have children. We will go through the the 2.13 verse, which says that there is that yau yauvana kaumaram yauvanam jara. So kaumara, yauvana, and eventually jara is old age. We have friends, we have no friends. Practically, we our friend starts going down when you become uh, when you get married at maybe 25, 30. You have children at 35, 40. Children grow up. Eventually children you get children married, and then you kind of become lonely. You kind of become lonely. You have your spouse with you. Sometimes your spouse is also not there. They depart, and then you're lonely. You're bereft of friends, and then you take help of friends. You are again from lonely. You not only become lonely, you become dependent on. See where this boy is worried about wetting his trouser in sleep. At that stage of 70s and 80s, and if we are fortunate or unfortunate to live beyond that, then even in 90s we will be dependent on, will be all our worry will be whether we'll be able to use toilets properly or not. And finally we will be worried if I can take few steps on my own or with the help of a walker or a stick, or not. And finally will be dead. So we'll complete a kind of a 360 degree. We start by taking a step at a time, and we finish by taking a step at a time as well. And in between, we have to be diligent. We have to be diligent in doing a lot of things, everything in fact. We have to be diligent in every stage. We have to be diligent not to wet our uh, trousers when we start going to the schools. We need to learn toilet manners and make sure that we don't we do what we are supposed to do. We have to be diligent with friends. We have to be diligent in our studies. In our student phase, we have to study properly. We have to study to the best of our ability. um, when we get married and we get into the grahastha ashram, the diligence increases. There are so many things which we are forced to do, we are like supposed to do. And we have to, right from protecting our wife that we saw in case of Vasudev, to having children, making her happy, keeping her happy, fulfilling her dreams, fulfilling her desires, fulfilling dreams and desires of her in-laws, your in-laws also, buying a home, paying EMIs, you know uh, uh, and then producing children, sending them to the best of schools, giving them best of tuitions, giving them best of facilities to enjoy, and getting tired doing all of that, getting old, becoming lonely, having no less friends or no friends, and then worrying about doing your using toilets properly, and then finally trying to be as independent as possible, as healthy as possible, as less dependent as possible towards the age flag end of your life before you finally die. So we have to be diligent, and we have to be dependent throughout this journey also. Dependent in for not uh, for not getting caught in accidents, in plane crashes, and save ourselves from plane crashes and car crashes and road accidents and lead a healthy lifestyles and not die prematurely by heart attacks, not to get uh, very terminal diseases at young age, and and try and survive through all of this. We are completely dependent. People may get cancer, they may die of heart attack, and we've seen many such videos on the social media that they died of heart attack practically at very young age. In their 20s and 30s, people were getting heart attacks, and people are dying. And why? There could always be a reason that you may point to, but why a death is written for such a at such a immature age, at such an early age? Because that's our dependence. That's the reason. We have to be dependent on Krishna for what we get. So this is what we go through. We are at 12 o'clock, and we will go through one first question. First question, that's if devotional service is higher, bhakti is higher, uh, then is more important, then why are we discussing so much about how to be diligent and how to be dependent? Should we not say that we should just perform bhakti and not worry about all of this? Is that possible? Can someone raise hand? Now, from now onward, there will be a lot of group discussion, so please be ready. So don't annotate. I'll just try to see if I can switch off annotation. Yes, can somebody raise hand for answering this? If Why are we not talking about just do bhakti? Why at all this is important? Yes, Pravilika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Why we are not give up in the duty, because we are not completely in bhakti. We are a practiced devotee. For that reason, we need to do our dharma also simultaneously.
Okay, very nice. Madhu, Manjiri Devidasi, and Ashwini Vadkar.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Dandavat. Prabhuji, like what
Correct.
we learn in the Hare Krishna, like what
Yes,
we
yes.
learn in the Damodar Leela, we learn that that Yashoda Mata was doing her prayas also. So prayas, and then Kripa came. Those two fingers were short. Kripa also came later after she did the prayas of tying Krishna. So our diligence is first, our duty is first, and then Krishna will decide accordingly. She saw the prayas of Yashoda Mata, how much she wanted that, and when that feeling is there, then Krishna reciprocates accordingly. Yatha mam tapadyante tam sitaiva bhajamyam. The way you surrender unto me, the way I will give you accordingly.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, sorry. The question was slightly different. The question is, if
Get
bhakti
down.
is important, then why are we?
Get down.
Yeah,
I have to
let's mute
Sorry,
everyone.
there was some
take the windows
confusion.
down.
Yeah. So the question is, why are we focused talk? Why Krishna is focusing so much about the performance of duty? If the only duty is to perform bhakti, then why are we even discussing the that in childhood what we should do, in youth what we should do, in grahastha ashram what we should do, like that? Why we are going through all of that, these different stages of life, and we are talking about the different duties that are associated with these stages of life? If हमें bhakti ही करनी है, if that is the only goal, and as Pravalika Mataji I think rightly said, let's move on, that we will not be able to do that. So bhakti has to be performed in the framework of ashram. We will always be in one of the ashram. We'll be brahmachari, we will be grahastha, or we will be vanaprastha, and we could be sannyasis. But by remaining in these ashrams, only bhakti has to be performed. We will belong to one of these places. We will be, if we are old, we probably could be vanaprasthi. We could be a grahastha for large part of our life. Those who are married will be in grahastha ashram from the age maybe 28, 30. When they enter the ashram, they get married uh, till the time they have they will be in grahastha ashram for large part of their life. So performance, so ashram will bring certain duties with them. And in general, as long as we retain the body, there will be bodily duties, and as ashram will bring additional duties with us. And hence, there will be activities other than bhakti also that we may have to perform. We don't have to focus on those, but those activities will also be unavoidable for us. And hence, Krishna explains how expertly to perform those activities so that we don't get caught up in those, but at the same time, those activities are performed in such a way that they don't produce any reactions. Though if those activities are performed by way of bhakti, then we will take care of our varnashram duties as well. At the same time, we will not incur karma and will move on in our bhakti smoothly. We discussed last time about the relationship issues, and we will move to that. And what we are basically discussing is there are a number of relationship issues we have listed and we picked up in the last session. So, what we are focusing here is now, as we understand that we will remain in one of the ashrams, and in the ashrams, there are duties associated with that ashram also. If we happen to be a grahastha, for example, if we happen to be a student, there will be, you will probably go to some college or school, so there will be duties associated with that institute. Because a school or college may have certain rules, those we will have to follow. There will be certain times when the exams will be conducted, we will have to appear for those exams. There will be fellow students with whom I will have to deal. There will be teachers with whom I will have to deal. There will be a building called my college where I will have to go and attend my classes. So I will have duties associated with my ashram as a student. My duties associated with my ashram as a grahastha. I will have a partner. I will have a spouse, and I will have duties associated with my spouse also. And hence, um, there will be multiple duties that I'll have to do. And while doing those duties, we are now discussing. We are taking few examples that I want to, while doing those duties, how should I be performing? How can I be diligent while performing my duties in the ashram, in a particular ashram? So, for example, if from I'm in between, I've finished my studies and I'm searching for a spouse, and for whatever the reason, I'm not getting a spouse. So, how can I be diligent and how can I be dependent? What I have to do to solve this problem of my life, and what I have to, how can I accept the result, whatever that I'm getting. This is our theme of discussion. So we've discussed some of these points. Not having a spouse. Abuse can be at physical, emotional, or mental level. Divorce is a new theme, so we'll take one by one. The first, I think we had discussed already, the abusive spouse, or abuse can be physical abuse, emotional, or mental abuse. Um, what we are discussing, again, I'll just repeat just for everybody's benefit. We are discussing how we can be diligent if we are in this situation, or if we are guiding somebody who happens to be in this situation. How can we ask them to be diligent, and when we ask them to be dependent on Krishna? So this is the theme of our discussion. So let's see if anybody has any contribution to make. So feel free to raise hand so that we can discuss. We will start with abusive spouse, then divorce, then, and assume somebody else is going through this and you are in an advisory role. You are advising somebody. Yes, Shipra Mataji.
Danvat Pranam Prabhuji. So I have a question actually. If we try, so I know a friend. We try. She tries to do all her duties well, but despite that, she gets criticism for whatever she does from her in-laws. But so slowly and slowly, she has kind of withdrawn into herself. She is following Krishna consciousness. So she doesn't know how to balance what she does for them or what she does for the household, and she doesn't have any expectations. But it's not healthy for her to continuously be at the receiving end either. So she finds it very difficult to strike a balance between how much to do while taking it as a duty, plus how much to take as a
Yeah,
doormat.
so that's precisely we are discussing, Mataji. Ki if you have to advise her, what would be your advice? How can she be diligent, and when she can say, "Oh, it is my destiny to receive"? I'm burning probably my karma by getting a bad treatment from my in-laws. We can add in-laws here. Here we have mentioned the spouse, but we can be in-laws in general. How do we take abuse, or what advice you will give for handling such a situation? When what she can do, and when at what stage she can say that, "Oh, this is my destiny, so let me suffer." That's precisely the question we are discussing.
Yeah, so what I tell her, although it doesn't help always, what I tell her is do whatever you can within your limits, but don't expect anything in return. Whatever you cannot do or you feel you don't want to do, you leave it. So, for example, even basic things, means she's managing everything. Then also the level of expectations, they never end. So if she does one thing, it will go on to the second one. If she does second, it will go on to the third. So I say, okay, you stop. So Vedas say you serve breakfast, do you make tea, you press the legs. She's a working lady, so that I think that distinction of being a conventional lady who was a householder to the current scenario where she is contributing more than 50% to the household being run. I think that line is blurred now. So I tell her, you stop wherever you want to. You do not need to follow all the conventional things when you are doing much more than what was written at that point of time. But don't expect being praised, and don't worry if you are not praised or you are at the receiving end or you are being not being
So, Shipra ji,
respected well.
yeah, let's hear from somebody else. What whether they agree with this advice, or what additional points that they can think of. Ashwini Wadkar Mataji, and then Vikas Roji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandvat Pranam. Actually, that abusive spouse problem, if we are surrendered to Krishna, so we are believing that whatever is happening is because of his permission. And if good things are happening with us, it's because due to our good karma, and bad things are happening with us, so it is our bad karma. So if we 100% believe to Krishna, so we should accept it as our karma phala, and we are here to just finish our karma so that we can finish our karma and prarabdha and go back to him. So if we think daily such like that, then it will be bearable to us. And another thing is in Gita, Krishna said that you do your duty and don't expect the fruits. So Krishna is looking, if it is not our due to our bad karma, so the front person will definitely get his fruit. Our karma are not bad, but still he is behaving badly with us, so he will get his fruit. So we should surrender to Krishna only. Then we will get the strength for this situation. That is my point of view.
So surrender, that is fine. That is ultimately you have to suffer if you have to suffer. But the same Krishna also push Arjuna to act. He pushed Arjuna to fight a war. And as a matter of fighting war, Arjuna was killing people. He was shooting arrows and killing people. He was leveraging his skill. So the inactivity, thinking that that's my destiny, is not really been pushed by as a advice by Krishna. So can nothing be done? We can always do something in every situation. And Krishna actually asked Arjuna to keep doing things. And in whenever he thought of withdrawing, saying, Ki, I'll go and beg. I'll think of this as my karma. I'll go beg, spend rest of my life as begging, as a beggar, but rather I'll not kill my relatives. And Krishna does not approve this of. So there is more to it. Vikas Prabhuji, and then Mili Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam. So, as you mentioned, Prabhuji, and you quoted so many beautiful verses. And one verse came to my mind that whenever we deal with any situation, Lord Krishna gives us Mam Anusmara Yuddha Cha, that we need to do the Yuddha, means the like diligence has to be applied. Like Mataji, Shipra Mataji was quoting that example that they are so demanding. So there can be some communication established. Maybe they will not be agreeing to it, but at least we are trying from our side that whatever diligence allows us, like we can communicate, we can try to console our spouse, or we can try to console directly to our in-laws. We can maybe buy some kind of, like Mataji told that Mataji is working and she is earning Lakshmi for, so she can use some Lakshmi for to comfort their in-laws. Like Pair Dabane Wala is machine comes, so she can bring one machine. So this is small kind of things that and that will comfort them. So and even after that something is happening, then it should be seen that to what degree it can be tolerated. And when it become totally intolerable, then separation can be one mean, but that is the gradual things. And in that way, we can see that in any and every situation, we can try to find some little or bigger kind of situation, or so many kind of solutions, rather not situation, so many kind of solutions. And whatever degree we can try to implement that in our life, we must try to implement. And even if after that nothing is happening, then ultimately we are praying to Krishna only, even in the beginning itself. But at the end, we should say that, my dear Lord, whatever came to my mind, whatever intelligence you gave me, because I offered prayer to you, now it is all up to you. In whatever way you want to keep me, I am ready to be. So in that way, we are following the instruction of Lord, that we are doing our karma, and at the same time, the dependence is also there on the Lord Krishna's mercy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Okay, Vijit. Milivanda ji, you want to add something?
Yes, Prabhuji. I want to give an example of from my life, unknown to someone. She was being I mean, in a situation of physical abuse. So when she was into that situation, her kids were very small. So she used to tell us. She is my cousin sister. So she used to tell us what we can what she could do, because kids are small. She's not, she has not that much support from her that. So we used to tell her that man and come to try, but she was not ready to go to her mother's place, because she was telling ki at the end of the day, this is my house, and my mother and my parents will support, how long they will support me, I have kids to raise. So uh, she suffered whatever situations she was into, and she quietly she raised her kids to very good human beings. The kids learned a lot from that situation. They respect their mothers a lot. But what happens is, now my sister has lost all respect for my brother-in-law. She was into this situation, like she is not into Krishna consciousness or anything. I told her sometimes that get into this, you will get solace and you will get peace at your mind. But now she is good, because her kids are working now, sons are working now. But she has lost all respect for that man. And she was into, like, every dog has his day. So she is into that situation. Okay, I want to see what happens to him. I have heard elders talking like that, सबको अपना कर्म फल यहीं पे भुगतना पड़ता है. So I want to see what happens to him. So she is into that situation, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So, I think what Vikas Prabhuji said comprehensively, I think, covers this aspect that if because doing nothing may not always be a good choice, and so we can do something in every situation, as Prabhuji explained nicely, that something can be done. And we can have multiple examples, but most of those will not be from, no, obviously I mean, will not be able to guide those people according to the Krishna consciousness philosophy if they are not exposed to that. But in general also, we can simply see that something could have been done, something, because abuse at a physical mental level will be extremely disturbing and could be fatal also at times. So that can be avoided, and that should be avoided, and every attempt should be done to avoid that, to prevent that from happening. And so while going through this, ultimately, despite of all efforts, if nothing happens, I continue to suffer. That's where the dependence part comes in. But the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita we have to take and then apply to the situation. If we say that Bhagavad Gita doesn't say that, now I've got through all the suffering, now I'll see how other people suffer. This is nowhere in the, that's not really the mentality that Bhagavad Gita promotes or encourages. Lord Krishna encourages. Uh, will they get? They will get. When they get, that's none of your business. You move on in your life. We'll come towards the end of our session where we will see how this is ये कीड़े जैसी mentality say we cannot remain here. Otherwise, this will keep you in the material world perpetually. That is not the objective. Objective, while we are, so why we are looking at this, while we understand that the primary goal of life is to perform bhakti, but there will be situations that we will have to deal with during the course of our life. And now we are trying to, and these are some of the examples, prominent examples, which people face, prominent issues that people face. Our examples may, from our neighborhood or from our relations, can give us many things, but none of those will be helpful. Is if we have to think from our point of view, how could they have been diligent, how and when they could have been dependent. That is the theme of our discussion. So let's keep our discussion focus on that aspect, that were they diligent. That's how you should look at what she diligent when she suffered. Probably she choose not to be diligent, and she was completely dependent on Krishna. That's all we have to see. Go through the another topic, divorce. We'll just take one comment, because we have a lot to cover. How, if somebody is going through this, what advice can we provide them? Um, so I've seen few hands raised. You want to take up this topic, Madhu? Want to speak about this?
Yes, Guruji. I want to say that being available for 24/7 for somebody is not so required. And it is not valid also. Things which are getting free, it is not valid. So I feel like instead of putting so much of efforts to somebody who is not so much deserving, instead of that, she can concentrate on her own spiritual way only. Like it might help her to go means at least she can reach somewhere. If she's keep doing to somebody, there's no point. You can't impress them or expect something from them. People who can understand it is different. Like if they're not in a stage of understanding and only they're expecting something from other person, I don't think so. She should invest so much of time and energy towards that, which will not take her to anywhere.
Making a relationship work, if it's consuming all her energy and not taking her anywhere, at times that can be a alternative that might as well separate and live and pursue your Krishna consciousness with full focus, rather than staying in a relationship which is rotting
Yeah.
and which is, that's her point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's true. But before we get to this conclusion, there could be diligent steps that could have been taken or that should be taken. It's not the it's not the first solution. Probably this can be the last solution after having exhausted all the solutions. It's like uh, performing surgery can be the final steps that doctors think of. Doctors, when you go to a doctor, don't say that, oh, let's open them, that part of our body, and let's see what's there inside and we'll try to fix it. Initially, they will try with some medication, some pain medication, some cure medication, some massage, some physiotherapy. And when all options are exhausted, then hopefully they will come to the surgery. Surgery is painful. Surgery is more damaging, more can have a lot of consequences, can take long time to recover. And for a person, it's like divorce is like that. So not the first option. So having gone through diligently, gone through all other options, when you have exhausted with all other options and when you're left with no other choice, then you exercise this as a choice, not the first but the last option. But again, the whole process can be extremely painful. So while we are trying to be diligently trying to resolve issues, deal with issues as they arise, there will always be a lot of emotional at an emotional level, mental level, there could always be painful situations that we might have to go through, and that's our karma. We are burdening our karma. We should remember, if had it not been delivered in this way, it could have been delivered in some other way. So we should keep focus. We should depend on Krishna for that, for giving us strength to experience that, to go through this period. We should depend on Krishna, but we should do our part and then we should depend on Krishna. Abusive parents. Yes. Radha Mataji, you want to speak?
यस प्रभु जी।
Yes.
मतलब कोई भी रिलेशनशिप हो, चाहे वो हस्बैंड वाइफ हो, डिवोर्स हो, या घर में कोई भी रिलेशनशिप, इतनी जल्दी तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि किसी को भी गिव अप कर देना चाहिए, जब तक जैसे आपने बोला कि उस हद तक अब्यूजिंग आपका बढ़ जाए कि आप रह ही ना पाओ। तो और वैसे भी अभी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, जो भी चीजें हैं बात करके सॉल्व हो सकती है। जो भी जैसे सामने वाले को कुछ नहीं पसंद है तो वो आप बंद कर सकते हो, आपको कुछ सामने वाले का नहीं पसंद है वो बंद करवा सकते हो। बहुत सारी चीजें होती है, और डिवोर्स एक ऐसी चीज है जिसका इफेक्ट आपके बच्चों पर भी पड़ने वाला है, आपकी बाकी की लाइफ पे भी पड़ने वाला है। तो इतनी जल्दी ये डिसीजन नहीं लेने चाहिए, मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है। और अभी तो बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, काउंसलिंग्स होते हैं उसके लिए। इवन माँ बाप और बच्चों के बीच में भी काउंसलिंग होते हैं। कई पेरेंट्स ऐसा बोल रहे हैं कि भाई मेरा बच्चा नहीं सुन रहा है, ये वो। तो अभी तो बहुत सारी चीजें हैं। तो किसी भी रिलेशनशिप को एंड करने से पहले पूरा चांस देना चाहिए।
Okay, thanks so much. Swapnil, do you want to say something about any of this aspect?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, divorce is a very sensitive matter, but in spirituality, in whatever we understand, we have never cited any example that sets, at least with my knowledge, that it has gone to an extreme of divorce. But in modern times, I think the scenarios are changing. But as a spiritual oriented person, as just now what Mataji just said, that we should give our marriage full chance, and this should be always taken up not as a solution, but eventually when there is no other solution.
Okay, yeah, we discussed
and
that
we
part.
should always
Yeah.
consolidate.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah.
Jyoti Mata, do you want to say something on this topic?
Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Actually,
Hare
not this particular topic, but overall, I would, this is my personal realization, which I would like to share, is that I have realized that bhakti never means tolerating blindly anything. So, Krishna is never pleased by someone suffering unjustly in the name of duty. It is he always is there to protect our mental health. So being diligent in the sense like the duty, for example, what has been assigned to us, we need to do it honestly, and in case if wherever we are facing any challenges, anywhere like in personal life or work life, so in that case, we can talk to colleagues, or we can talk to our family, friends, or anyone with whoever we are comfortable. So, but in that case also, if nothing is working, then Krishna gives us the intelligence that all doors are closed. So we have to completely be dependent on him only. So in that case, we should just do the bhakti and pray to Krishna to guide us and to give courage to face this challenging situation. And it is, even whatever the situation is, worst to worst case, Krishna never leaves us in any situation, and he picks out, he holds our hand, and he gets out of that situation with dignity. He doesn't take that like we will lose our dignity and be in that situation, we will lose ourselves. So it is not like that. So this thing I have experienced, but for that, Prabhuji, we need to have lots and lots and lots of patience to understand this. So that it is like Krishna is showing us that we are completely dependent on him, and we are not dependent on anyone else. So whatever results, whatever duty we have done, that is fine, that we are doing it for Krishna only. And we are not supposed to get the result of this what we have done from these karmis. So Krishna only will reward us. So for that only we need to wait, and for that only we need to get this intelligence, because in this situation either a person can go negative or else, because positivity is very less in this case. So we have to really work on ourselves and make ourselves depend on Krishna.
Okay. Just to summarize, let's take with the interest of time, we'll look at, will not go through individual case studies or cases, but in general, what we have summarized in this case of, now these are all relationship related issues. With the other topics are like not having children. This was, I think, discussed last Sunday. Children not listening to the parents got a lot of attention, and we heard few parents view and few children view also. Death of our loved ones in general, and also at an early age, and loved ones suffering from sickness, diseases, and especially the permanent or terminal diseases. In general, uh, as we summarize, we can summarize that we can do something in every situation. Now, this is where our because we are in the one of the ashram, we are in we are either we are a student, or we are about to become grahastha, or we are grahastha, or we are vanaprastha, and we are in somewhere on that dial, that what we saw, the dial of 180-degree dial, we are probably somewhere in there. And we will wherever, as long as we are there on that dial, as long as we have this body and we are in one of those ashramas, we will have all of these issues popping up every now and then. We will, as long as we have families, we will have wife falling sick, husband falling sick, in-laws giving trouble, our own parents giving trouble, sometimes children giving trouble, neighbors giving trouble, government giving trouble, other country giving trouble. So this is going to be there. This is continuously going to be there throughout one's life, and this is not going to change. So what is going to change is how we deal with this. And as a conclusion, how we do, what we can think of is that what we all could gather is something can be done in every situation, no matter how worse the situation can be. If a person is about to leave one's body also, we can give that person Krishna consciousness. Even if someone has left at an early age, those people can be diverted towards bhakti. Those people can be told the philosophy, with the help of philosophy. Those people can be told about if a person about the reality of life, that aeroplane which get crashed didn't had people only above age of 80 who were useless to the world anyway. It had all kind of people. It had young children, it had children, young parents, old parents, and women, and girls and boys, and everybody was there. And all of those people are today dead. And death does not consider physical age of a person. Death comes when it has to come, and it's it's certain. And so with the help of philosophy, we are able to make sense of what's happening in the life. And uh, because of that, we can always do something. We can always try to uh, even if it happens in our family, there can be people, those who get destruct I mean, those who people suffer such losses. If we happen to be advising them, we should be able to, with the help of philosophy, we should be able to convince them, help them understand what has happened, and how the person who had this much life sanctioned by Krishna has to move on to another life. And you in your life also need to move on, and that happens, but it should happen in the right way. So with that, we can move to the next section. The sickness, again, we, a lot of us will go through that eventually ourselves, for our own self, but generally we've seen for our elders, for our parents. And so what we can do, we should do to the best of whatever we can do, we should do to the best of our abilities. But despite of all of that, the sickness worsens, people leave their body, that situations will also come. Our dependence on Krishna should come later, after we have done our part. If we are, this is not an excuse. Dependence is not an excuse to become irresponsible in doing our duty. Dependence is not an excuse for becoming irresponsible in our duty. So we should be diligent in our duty. So if our duty as a son, as a daughter, as a son-in-law or a daughter-in-law, or whatever our relationship with our elders is, or our those who are sick, whatever our relationship is with them, we should do our part, and then we should be dependent on Krishna. Then whatever the result Krishna want to sanction, he will sanction, and we should just accept it and move on in life. Another important aspect of our life is with the finances. As we go through the journey of our life, this complete the dial, we will not again go through individual this thing, but we will collectively, we will just look at here a couple of views on this. Uh, the finance related issues which involves job, not getting a job, or having a job but not getting promotion, not getting proper increments. I'm not happy with what I do. I'm not getting a finer, better job. My job is, my workplace is bad. My workplace is abusive. My boss is abusive. My work environment is not conducive for bhakti. My business, some people can be in business that they can be very successful. They may not be successful. And sometimes, or most of the time, people wonder that they don't have enough money to meet their current expenses or fulfill their dreams and fulfill their desires. Uh, Another last point is, people generally often wonder how much should they have for their future. So at what stage they should focus on bhakti full-fledged, or full devote themselves 100% to the bhakti. So these are some of the issues associated with finance, and we'd like to hear a couple of views, not more than that. We want to spend good 10 minutes for hearing something nice from Bhagavatam. So we'll not at 12:50 we will take a hard stop and we'll move to Bhagavatam. But anybody wants to say one quick thought on this finances? Vaishnavi, you've hand you raised. You want to speak on this topic? What can we do to be diligent, and when we can be dependent?
Radhe Radhe Prabhuji. Prabhuji, what I'd like to say is I bought a house a couple of years back, and ever since I've purchased that house, there has been some or the other trouble with respect to my job. Sometimes I was kicked out of a job, sometimes the company closed down, or something or the other. There was a constant financial turmoil. But what I have experienced is whatever EMIs I had to pay, that were never stopped. Some way or the other, I was provided for in that situation. I mean, it was completely, unbelievable at that point of time that you just buy a house and you lose your job and you're worrying like, how am I supposed to pay back the loan? It's a big ambition, it's a big dream. But what I have feel is that God has never left me alone. For that, I'm truly indebted. Before going to bed, I always felt like, okay, you are the one who's provided this to me. You wanted me to do this. That's why I was capable of doing it. So it's your job who has to look after me and who has to make sure that I can live up to the responsibility of keeping this thing with me. And I'll be very honest, it's been almost 2 years. Things have been very chaotic on a personal level, on a financial level, but none of my work has stopped. I have never missed any EMI. I have paid all the things, all the dues on time.
So
My mother's been
during
hospitalized in between. So it's sometimes I feel that if you just have enough faith that God will be with you, Krishna will be with you, no matter what, you don't have to worry about anything. Things get sorted automatically. This has
but
been my personal
yeah,
experience.
but you never stopped, right? You
Never.
kept doing what you thought best doable in every situation.
Yes, and
So
today,
that is
by
your
Krishna's
diligence.
grace,
So
yes, by
that was your
Krishna's grace,
diligence.
I have
And
started a business now. I was once
yeah,
hunting a job, and I've started a business. It's flourishing. So maybe I feel if Krishna takes one thing from your hand, he only wants to put something better.
yeah. So because of your diligence, you could then go through the situation, and now, and you are always dependent on Krishna for whatever the outcome. Even if sometimes some EMIs could have missed out, and there could have been another chaos. It could have been much worse than what you have described. But because
Yes.
of your diligent, you always remain diligent. And you are prepared to face any other consequences that were to come as a result of your karma. So that's a nice way of handling a crisis. Radha Mataji, yes, one thought from you, and then we move to the next slide.
यस प्रभु जी। मैं अपना रिसेंट एक्सपीरियंस शेयर करना चाहूंगी। मेरे पापा को जब हार्ट अटैक आया था तब मतलब फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस से ऑफ कोर्स मैं गुजर रही थी, पर हम अपनी ड्यूटीज पे भरोसा करते हैं। अगर अपने ड्यूटीज आपकी पूरी तरह से अच्छी तरह से निभाई है, आप भक्ति कर रहे हो, आप एकदम राइट पाथ पे हो, तो ऐसी चीजों का ना टेंशन नहीं होता। हमको पता है कि मतलब भगवान पे भरोसा होता है, जैसे अभी माता जी ने बोला कि उनके हाथ में है तो वो संभाल ही लेंगे, और उन्होंने संभाल ही लिया। मुझे बिल्कुल भी टेंशन नहीं हुआ। पापा की पूरी ट्रीटमेंट हुई, पापा की पूरी चीजें हुई, इवन घर पे भी लाए तो भी उनकी हेल्थ भी रिकवर हुई, सारी चीजें ठीक से हुई। और वो ऐसे हुई कि मुझे बिल्कुल भी इस बात का चिंता या टेंशन नहीं रहा कि कैसे होगा ये सब कुछ, मैं कैसे मैनेज करूंगी। मैं अगर अकेली मैनेज करने वाली हूँ तो वही होता है कि अगर ड्यूटीज आपने ठीक से की है और आप उसके लिए काम भी कर रहे हो रेगुलरली, तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि कोई भी प्रॉब्लम इसमें होती है।
Yes, thank you so much. That's true. We've seen this firsthand, how things were arranged, and how diligent you were. I think it's most important for us to keep thinking what is my duty and how best I can do my duty, and then remain dependent on Krishna for the result. And in the process, continuously doing our bhakti. If you leave your sadhana in between, then you get caught in the वो स्पाइरल जैसा हो जाता है, भवरे भवर में फंस जाना. You can get into that situation, but this diligence and dependence balance, you will only be able to maintain that mental balance if you're in bhakti, if you're continuously chanting, if you're continuously reading, if you're continuously talking to the devotees. Then only this balance we were able to maintain. But otherwise it can become very, very chaotic. You can forget bhakti, you can forget about Krishna in the process. But we've seen that many examples, and yours is one of the examples that what we have seen very closely, how diligently you were performing your bhakti, you were performing your duties, and Krishna took care of things, and you were practically ready for any outcome. and that was your dependence on Krishna. But you did your best, and that was your diligence that was expected out of you. Thank you so much for sharing. We'll move to the next slide. Next slide is again mental. We'll not get into this. We'll move to the another interesting topic is about progressing in bhakti, progressing in devotional service. A lot of people have these questions. We'll take just one answer for this, and then we'll go to the what is ultimately that what we are supposed to do. And we'll hear a clip from anybody wants to speak about this aspect. Yes, Shipra Mataji.
I
Very
think it
quick,
is. I
quick
think it is
comment.
total surrender.
Okay, so I should be doing my part and without worrying about if am I progressing, am I progressing, not progressing. How should we handle this? A lot of people have these questions. Say, am I progressing? Will I do I have taste for chanting? Do I have taste for hearing Krishna Katha? When will I develop taste for serving? कैसे पता चलेगा? ये कोई थर्मामीटर तो होता नहीं है भक्ति में
Through
भी.
observation, sir, like observing our thoughts and actions.
Okay, observing our thoughts and actions, we can know that are we more absorbed in Krishna or not. But do I have to judge myself or do I have to depend on other person's judgment? Vikas Ji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So on other person, Prabhuji, like the mentors, like Prabhuji gave such wonderful thought process yesterday that we should do this about reading part, and similarly he spoke about chanting part also. Like our inclination towards hearing Krishna Katha, our inclination towards chanting more and more will keep on increasing, and then ultimately we need to go to that mentor, that what is actually my practical situation. As Mataji was mentioning, that by observing, and if we'll start observing ourselves with our mindset, then ultimately mind may be the biggest enemy, and it will give us the altogether the negative picture that you are doing very good and you need not to be too much now you need not to be too much intense into it. Then it can be like a cause of coming down. So ultimately
Can
going to
fall
mentors
down. Yeah.
is this.
Karunesh, I have seen your hand raise. Yes, quick comment, Karunesh Chakrabarti. Hare Krishna. Can you unmute? Yes, Prabhuji.
So,
Yeah, I can hear you.
so practically speaking, this devotional service is not a one-time event. It is a journey of continuous learning and growth. Now, there are 9 processes that I have learned from ISKCON. The hearing, second chanting, third remembering, fourth serving, fifth worshipping, sixth offering obeisance, seventh acting as a servant, eighth making friends, and the ninth one is surrendering everything.
Okay, so we have to do our part basically. We have to keep doing rather than worrying about when will I have when this will happen, when will I that will happen.
No, it is not
We
like
have to
that.
do
It
our
is all
part,
about
is it?
it is all about purification of my consciousness
Okay.
and extreme love for the divine. There should be no compromise on that.
But
See,
how?
these are very difficult practices. It is very easier said than done. But when one has to practice, it is very difficult because it all requires concentration and focus. And it is very difficult to attain that particular level in any, without basically undergoing those kind of, situations.
Okay. How will you be diligent? आप क्या करेंगे? What action you will take to become diligently to moving towards this target? Or what will you advise others to do to go towards this target? ये आपको करना है.
Progressive service, that actually it is written progress in devotional service. That's exactly what is written here. Now for that, it is a gradual elevation of devotees' engagement in spiritual practice.
Okay.
Progressing from the initial stage to the higher level of consciousness.
So you're saying
And
it's a
of course,
journey.
the love for the divine. It is a journey. It
Yeah.
can't be done in one way. It is
One
a
day. Correct. Yeah. Very nice.
say a student goes to a school, he can't directly go and sit on a 10th standard or board examination. He has to go to the junior KG, senior KG, first, second, third, fourth. He has to climb the ladder. Correct. That is
Correct.
how the things are.
Okay. And he has to be diligently doing what is been told to him at every stage.
As you rightly pointed out in the first slide, when you were actually explaining the key to success of hard work and determination, there you had pointed out the karma. The karma is important, not the fruits. Fruit to aata rahega, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much, Raji.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you very much once again.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
So, to summarize, we say that diligence first and dependence later. Roji has also, I think, said this same thing, that diligence first. Do what you can in every situation. There will be something that you should be able to do. And then depend on Krishna for what result outcome that you get. We'll take a look at, we'll hear from Gaur Krishna Maharaj about some of the verses from Bhagavatam 2nd canto, verse 6, 8, 9 and 10. The 4 verses, we will hear his comments on these 4 verses, and we will conclude our today's session. And this is where he explains how actions should be performed. What is humanity ke liye, what is the ultimate ask for the humanity. So this is where we'll go.
आरंभ करते हुए दूसरे प्रश्न का उत्तर पहले दे देते हैं। दूसरा प्रश्न है साधन। आत्मा कैसे सम्यक प्रसन्न हो सकती, इस माया बंधन से मुक्त होकर आत्मा की प्रसन्नता कैसे। तो सूत्र रूप में बताते हैं कि सवै पुंसाम परो धर्मो जतो भक्ति रधोक्षजे अहितुक्य अप्रतिहता ये आत्मा संप्रसिद्ध थी। जीव के लिए सबसे श्रेष्ठ परम कर्तव्य यह है कि वो भगवान अधोक्षज की भक्ति करे, और वो भक्ति बिना कारण के अकारण अहेतुकी भक्ति करे, और वो अहेतुकी भक्ति अप्रतिहता हो, किसी काल से, परिस्थिति से, किसी कारण से बाधित न हो, तो आत्मा सम्यक रूप से प्रसन्न हो जाएगा। जब बिना कारण के, बिना प्रयोजन के, बिना योजना के, उसके बदले में कुछ नहीं चाहिए, ऐसी भक्ति, इसको अहेतुकी भक्ति कहते हैं, जिस तरह प्रहलाद महाराज ने किया। नृसिंहदेव पूछते हैं कि बेटा प्रहलाद कुछ मांग लो, मेरा स्वभाव है देने का। तो कहते हैं मैं सौदा करने नहीं आया हूँ, मैं बनियागिरी नहीं करने आया हूँ कि भक्ति किया तो बदले में चाहिए। अरे नहीं, मांग लो, कुछ मांग लो, मेरा स्वभाव है। कहते हैं अच्छा आप देना चाहते हैं तो दे दीजिए, हमारे मन में कभी भी किसी वस्तु की कोई लालसा न हो। तो इस तरह से यह अहेतुकी भक्ति, मैं भक्ति के लिए किया हूँ कि कुछ बदले में लेने के लिए किया हूँ। और अहेतुकी भक्ति अगर किया जाए और वो अप्रतिहता हो, हत न हो किसी कारण से, और धर्म का कितना ही अनुष्ठान किया जाए खूब बढ़िया से, धर्म स्वनिश्चित पुंसम विश्वक्सेन कथा सुजत नोत्पादे यदि रतिम समय वही केवलम। कहते हैं वासुदेव भगवती भक्ति योग प्रयोजित। भक्ति योग जो है वो भगवान कृष्ण की भक्ति व्यक्ति के अंदर वैराग्य और ज्ञान उत्पन्न करा देता है अपने आप। भक्ति के तो बेटा है ज्ञान वैराग्य, अलग से ज्ञान वैराग्य की जरूरत नहीं है। भक्ति जिसके पास है उसको ज्ञान और वैराग्य हो जाएगा अपने आप, क्योंकि उसके पुत्र हैं। इसमें बतला रहे हैं आगे कि धर्म का अनुष्ठान खूब बढ़िया से किया जाए, लेकिन भगवान की कथा में रुचि नहीं उत्पन्न हुई। खूब यज्ञ हुआ, हवन हुआ, मंत्रोच्चार हुआ, खूब घी समीधा डाला गया, लेकिन कथा में रुचि नहीं उत्पन्न हुई, लीला कथा में इंटरेस्ट नहीं बढ़ा। तो नोत्पादयेद यदि रति समय वही केवलम, केवल परिश्रम हुआ। तो भक्ति का अर्थ है श्रवण, भगवान की कथा में रुचि उत्पन्न हो जाना, और यही प्रबल साधन है श्रवण कीर्तन। तो इसको बताते हैं। इसके बाद पहले प्रश्न का उत्तर देते हैं, एकांतिक श्रेय क्या है व्यक्ति का। कहते धर्म से ह्याप वर्ग से नार्थो अर्थायोपकल्पते नार्थैस धर्मैस कांतस्य कामो लाभाय स्मृत। धर्म से ह्याप वर्ग से नार्थो अर्थायोपकल्पते, धर्म का फल मोक्ष और उसकी सार्थकता अर्थ प्राप्ति में नहीं है। धर्म किया जाता है इस झंझट से मुक्त होने के लिए, और न कि और भोग जुटा ले, उत्कृष्ट भोग प्राप्त कर ले। इसके लिए धर्मस्य, धर्म का फल है मुक्ति, झंझट से मुक्त हो जाए। लेकिन ही अपवर्गस्य नार्थो अर्थायोपकल्पते, उसकी सार्थकता अर्थ प्राप्ति में नहीं है कि कुछ धर्म किए, कुछ अनुष्ठान किए और कुछ धन प्राप्त हो जाए। अगर धन प्राप्त हो गया तो अर्थ केवल धर्म के लिए होना चाहिए। अगर धार्मिक अनुष्ठान करने से, कुछ यज्ञ करने से, पुण्य करने से, तीर्थ करने से, दान देने से कुछ धन प्राप्त हो रहा है, तो उस धन का नार्थो अर्थायोपकल्पते, धर्म का लक्ष्य धन नहीं और धन का लक्ष्य भोग नहीं, धन का लक्ष्य धर्म है। कामस्य नेन्द्रिय प्रीति नार्थस्य धर्मैकांतस्य कामो लाभाय स्मृत। भोग विलास धन का उद्देश्य नहीं है, धन का उद्देश्य है, भोग का फल इंद्रिय तृप्ति नहीं है। भोग प्राप्ति हो गया तो खूब इंद्रिय तृप्ति में लगे हैं। अर्थ केवल धर्म के लिए होना चाहिए। जीवन में कुछ कमाए हैं तो वो धर्म के लिए, और धर्म प्राप्त करते हैं इस झंझट से मुक्त होने के लिए। धीरे धीरे क्रम बता रहे हैं कि धीरे धीरे इस अर्थ धर्म काम मोक्ष में लगे हैं। तो अर्थ धर्म काम मोक्ष, तो इस चारों की व्याख्या करते हुए कहते हैं धर्मस्य ह्याप वर्गस्य, धर्म का ठीक ठीक अनुष्ठान होने पर मनुष्य के हृदय में भगवान की लीला कथा आनी चाहिए, और नहीं आया तो बेकार। धर्म का फल मोक्ष है, उसकी सार्थकता अर्थ प्राप्ति में नहीं है। धर्म इसलिए नहीं करें कि हमको धन मिले, अर्थ केवल धर्म के लिए है और धर्म केवल मुक्ति के लिए है, और भोग विलास उसका फल नहीं माना गया है अर्थ का। अर्थ अगर कुछ कमाए, धन रुपया पैसा की जरूरत है, उसकी सार्थकता है कि उसे धर्म किया जाए, अर्थ से काम नहीं। अर्थ का लक्ष्य काम नहीं है, काम तो बंधन में डालने वाला है। निजे इंद्रिय तृप्ति वांछा तार नाम काम, कृष्ण इंद्रिय प्रीति इच्छा धरे प्रेम नाम। तो जब हम अपनी इंद्रियों को तृप्त करने के उपाय करते हैं वो काम है। हम अच्छा देखना चाहते हैं, अच्छा खाना चाहते हैं और मुलायम स्पर्श चाहते हैं, तो यह काम है। अपने इंद्रियों को तृप्त करना चाहते हैं, ये ठीक नहीं है। अर्थ अगर प्राप्त हो रहा है तो उस अर्थ से धर्म करें, उससे ग्रंथ छपवाएं, उसको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करें, बांटे, भागवत की आयोजन करें, धाम की यात्रा करें, जितना हो सके उसमें धन को लगाना चाहिए। ये धार्मिक अनुष्ठान में, धर्म के योजना में अर्थ की सार्थकता है। नार्थस्य धर्मैकांत से कामो लाभाय, कामो लाभाय स्मृत। याद रखना चाहिए, वास्तव में ये सत्य है कि काम नहीं है धन का उद्देश्य, धन का उद्देश्य धर्म है और धर्म का उद्देश्य मोक्ष है। कामस्य नेन्द्रिय प्रीति लाभो जीवित जावता, जीवस्य तत्व जिज्ञासा नार्थो यस्य कर्म भी। बड़ा सुंदर ढंग से समझाते हैं कि भोग विलास का फल इंद्रियों को तृप्त करना नहीं है, उसका प्रयोजन है अर्थ का कि जीवन निर्वाह हो ठीक ढंग से। पैसा रुपया रहे तो जीवन के जो आवश्यकता है, भोजन, कपड़ा, स्वास्थ्य, उसकी रक्षा हो, और उस जीवन निर्वाह का फल है, अच्छा से जीवन चल रहा है तो उसका क्या फल है? जीवन से तत्व जिज्ञासा। अगर शरीर ठीक ठाक है तो उसे तत्व जिज्ञासा करना चाहिए। नार्थो यस्य कर्म भी, बहुत कर्म करके स्वर्गादिक भोग की प्राप्ति नहीं, तत्व जिज्ञासा। तब तत्व क्या है तब बतलाते हैं। बदंती तत्व विदस तत्वम यज ज्ञानम अद्वयम ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवान इति शब्द थे। कहते हैं
So, as we heard, Maharaj, actually, this is conversation of Sutta Goswami is explaining to the rishis in Srimad Bhagavatam second canto, first canto, second chapter, that what is duty, what is supreme occupation. Today we discuss about what is our duty. The whole discussion is focused on our duty. What is our duty in every condition, every situation? And what we understood is that we should understand what is our duty, and we should do that to the best of our ability. That is our diligence. So here, Sudha Goswami is explaining what is our duty. Savayam punso paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshase ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasiddhati. That the supreme occupation, dharma, supreme occupation, paradharma, that is parodharma, which is the supreme occupation for all humanity, is by which men can attain to the loving devotional service and to the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be ahetuki, unmotivated, and uninterrupted, apratihata, टू कंप्लीटली satisfy the self. महाराज ने बहुत सुंदर ढंग से एक्सप्लेन किया कि ये कैसी अहेतुक है, एंड by giving example of Prahlad Maharaj, he said unmotivated and uninterrupted. So that is what we are supposed to do. But because we will be in one of the ashram, we will have this body, we will also have duties associated with our body. And then Maharaj says that dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So usme, how do we deal with this? Dharma means developing taste in the message of personality of Godhead. Dharma means developing the taste in the message of the personality of Godhead. And if that could not be achieved, then whatever you do in the name of dharma is waste labor, is only a wasted labor. Wasted labor means श्रम एव ही केवलम, जिसका धर्म का अनुष्ठान किया बट कथा में रुचि नहीं है, खूब लोगों को बुलाया, काफी लोगों को खाना खिलाया, फोटो छपवाया, पेपर में दिया, लाइव टेलीकास्ट किया, यूट्यूब पे किया, बट जिसने किया उसको कथा में रुचि, कृष्ण कथा में अगर रुचि नहीं है, उसमें इफ दे कुड नॉट डेवलप टेस्ट फॉर हियरिंग द मैसेज ऑफ पर्सनालिटी ऑफ गॉड हेड, भगवद गीता पाठ नहीं हो रहा है, भगवद गीता में पढ़ना नहीं हो रहा है, भगवद गीता समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, we are not applying ourselves to the learning of process of learning of Bhagavad Gita, we are not applying ourselves to the study of Srimad Bhagavatam, then that dharma, that any action performed in the name of dharma is shrama evahi kevalam. So that is like a utter waste of our endeavor. So dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Now धर्मस्य यह अपि वर्गस्य नार्थो अर्थ अपकल्पते नार्थस्य धर्म कांतस्य कामो लाभाय हि स्मृतिः. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. And furthermore, according to the sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gains to cultivate sense gratification. So again, this is dharma. धर्म करके अगर कुछ फल मिला, as Maharaj was explaining very beautifully, that if by doing performing some dharma, for us a student is also is studying, and when you study you get some qualification, you get some job, and when you get some job you get some artha. That leads to artha. The education leads to artha. Now artha should lead to dharma once again. Artha should be invested in activities which will ultimately help us develop taste for Krishna Katha, performance of devotional service only. If artha is directed towards kama, that is sense gratification, that is what is not recommended by Bhagavatam. Krishna does not recommend that. Whatever is your quota of material sense enjoyments will be delivered to you. Just like sufferings are coming, enjoyments will also come. So you don't have to invest in those. So whatever after dharma, whatever artha you get, the goal of artha should also be to be invested back in the dharma. invested back in the activities of Krishna consciousness. And ultimately, all of this should be ultimately leading us towards the liberation. So it should never be ultimate occupational service. The one who engages in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. And last top point in this is life desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life for or self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's work. What is the ultimate goal of one's activity? अगर हमने कोई business भी चालू किया है, and if business is flourishing, that should help us get preservance, self-preservation. It should help us with self-preservation. And the moment that is achieved, one should come to the stage of Tattva Jigyasa. Tattva Jigyasa. One should come to the, again, so this is also leading to Dharma. One should come to the stage of Tattva Jigyasa, where one should question one's own existence. Why am I suffering in this world? From where I have come? From where? Why am I suffering while where I'm in this world? And where will I go after giving up this body? And what is the goal of this journey? Who is God? What is my relationship with him? And so these are the questions. This is Tattva Jigyasa. These are the questions which are answered in Bhagavad Gita. So as soon as one's self-preservation is achieved, one should do Tattva Jigyasa. And so that one can take up to the process of Krishna consciousness with all sincerity, with all seriousness. And nothing else should be the goal of one's work. All of our activities should be directed towards this, towards Krishna consciousness. And that is called Parodharma. That is called ultimate religion. So Bhagavatam summarizes Bhagavad Gita in such a beautiful way that Bhagavad Gita has elaborately explained, but Bhagavatam summarizes in these 4 verses. The goal of human life is Tattva Jigyasa. Goal of all one's work should be Tattva Jigyasa. And Tattva Jigyasa should bring us to the stage of Dharma. And definition of Dharma is developing taste for performance of devotional service, which includes hearing and chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, and all our activities should be directed towards developing this one activity. This is Parodharma. If we are doing this, all other activities, all other actions becomes inferior to the Parodharma. So those the inferior actions may or may not be done, but the superior action should always be done. So no matter where we are, no matter what is our condition in the terms of relationships, no matter if we have good, bad, or ugly relatives surrounded by us, no matter if we are getting paid a salary or we are stopped getting paid a salary, no matter if we are in a pathetic financial condition and we have no hope to see from where our next meal will come from, no matter what is our mind telling us, one thing we should always be focus on doing is performance of Parodharma. That is bhakti, that is devotional service. And after doing that, then to the best of our abilities, and we should attend to the other duties, that is inferior duties. And if we can do this, then we become dear to Krishna. Then this is Bhakti Yoga. And once we are in Bhakti Yoga, in the domain of Bhakti Yoga, Krishna start doing favors to us. Krishna will become partial to us. Otherwise, he will remain impartial to us. Then we will be simply governed by the laws of our karma. If it is, and we will, it is like, it is like in the it is like if you find yourself in the middle of an ocean, which is very which has heavy turbulence, which has heavy long waves, huge waves are coming and going, and sometimes you are tossed up, sometimes you are brought down, and there is no one to save you. It is like finding ourselves in such a condition. That's not very comfortable. Rather, we can be at the lotus feet of Krishna. And that's why we should never give up performance of Parodharma. Never give up our duties towards Lord Adhokshaja or Lord Krishna, and perform our duties towards Krishna with all our sincerity, and then perform duties at a worldly level to the best of our ability. And that way we will have a successful endeavor in our life. We will pause here for any questions or any other comments anybody might have. But this is the summary of the today's session on diligence and dependence.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्ण माता जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
प्रभु जी, अभी मतलब मैंने यूट्यूब में देखा है ये जो अभी इंसिडेंट हुआ है ना अहमदाबाद का था, तो उसमें एक डिवोटी मतलब एक बच गया, एक इंसान बच गया, वो उनके गले में कंठी माला था। तो ऐसे डिवोटीज ने कुछ ऐसा मैसेज किया कि जिनके गले में कंठी माला होता है उनका अकाल मृत्यु नहीं होता है ऐसा, इसलिए वो बच गए। और उसमें भगवत गीता भी पाया गया है ऐसा। और ऐसे ही वीडियो मैंने देखा है, दूसरा वीडियो मतलब बाद में, कि एक मतलब एक छोटी बच्ची थी, मतलब वो उनको रसनागल बोलते थे, वो टीवी में आती थी, रसनागल करके टीवी में आती थी, वो बहुत साल पहले हुआ ये वो भी प्लेन क्रैश में ही ऐसा मर गई। मतलब एक्चुअली वो डिवोटी उन्होंने टीवी में ऐड करती थी, बहुत फेमस थी वर्ल्ड में, पर उनकी मम्मी कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस में आई, फिर उनके बाद उन्होंने वो छोड़ दिया, फिर वो लोग कृष्णा कॉन्शियस हो गए। उसके बाद वो लोग कुछ प्रभु जी के साथ नेपाल समथिंग गए थे ऐसे, वहां पे
We lost you. What is your question, Mataji, if you have a question? Yes, Vikas Soji, if you have a question, and Vishwanath Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, it is just like, thank you so much for this. This was very wonderful practical thing that we can actually from minute scale to higher scale, we can try to implement from the teachings of Bhagavad Gita as you covered. And then you gave us that the Tattva Jigyasa that makes it like more longing for. So thank you very much for covering in one session the such wonderful nectarian and embedded things so that we can progress further. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you,
हरे
Prabhuji.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Mataji, 1 minute. Vishwanath Prabhuji, and then we'll
हरे
come to
कृष्ण
you, Mataji.
प्रभु जी, मेरा क्वेश्चन पूरा आप सुन पाए प्रभु जी? आवाज नहीं आ रही है
Yeah,
प्रभु जी।
Vishwanath Prabhuji is asking one question, तो उनके बाद आप पूछ लेना।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Namaskar.
Hare Krishna.
Regarding that, last verse we just seen from Bhagavatam. Actually, it's allowing to extend. In Chaturshati Bhagavatam also we have one verse, Canto 2, chapter 9, verse 36. एतावा देवा जिज्ञासम तत्व जिज्ञासा सुदात्मना अन्यया व्यक्तिरेखाभ्याम यत् सात् सर्वदा सर्वदा. So in that also Mr. Lord Krishna explained that we have to miss jidlas as per any circumstances. Okay, and miss any condition we have to do this our paradharma duty. So that I want to highlight. So thank you very much for this beautiful session. So it's very impactful for me.
Thank you so much, Raji. Yes, and multiple messages. So whatever the important messages Lord wanted to give us, He's repeated those messages multiple times, and that is how we understand that those are the critical takeaways for ourselves, and whatever are not so important, those he supersedes by giving higher instructions. So repeatedly we see in Bhagavad Gita as well as in Srimad Bhagavatam that the important instructions are all repeated. And thank you for pointing it out. Hare Krishna. Sadhna Mataji, you please ask your question. Sadhna Mataji, you're there? Yeah, you can unmute Mataji and you can ask a question. Yeah, Sanjeev Prabhuji, yeah, meanwhile you can ask question if you have any.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji, can hear you.
Prabhuji, thank you so much for such a wonderful session today. My question is, Prabhuji, see, devotional service, that should be your first priority, and everything should be, kind of tailored around that, as you mentioned. But, in the life of a householder who's got his parents, he's got his children, and he's got a job to take care of. So when you're caught up with all this, just the factor that becomes most important is setting aside time. I mean, for devotional service. A typical householder's life, if you analyze, how does one get that time out for devotional service?
Yeah, so very true and very correct. So that's the reason we discuss about the Bhagavatam verses towards the end of our session. So we discuss those in last 10, 12 minutes of our session. So if you see, majority of our session was focused on how a grahastha will have to deal with his life. And we understand that. That's precisely the reason why this was not a by mistake, but this was intentional. The reason, see, this is how we have to get started. We have to get started and we have to progress. How to remove time is an individual, is a general question, as well as is a question to be discussed in person with your mentor. So we'll be happy to discuss that if you have if you wish. I'll just post my give my mobile number so that everyone, anyone who wants to connect and discuss anything in particular, like particular issues, we can discuss them. But precisely how to remove time is a individual situation, where every person will have a different situation. You and all grahasthas, not necessarily they work from 9 to 6. Everyone can have different timings. So the general instruction is that we should protect our early mornings for sadhana. All our early morning timings should be protected for sadhana, and we should perform a japa during those hours. And if possible, some reading at that time. So if we are not chanting 16 rounds, but say if you're chanting 4 rounds, 8 rounds, whatever the count of rounds that we are chanting today, we should try to chant those rounds in the morning hours. So protect your morning. In order to get time in the morning, you need to protect your late evenings. You need to avoid staying awake till late nights. And in the grahastha ashram, that is sometimes possible, but many times that's not possible. But to the extent possible, again, we have to be diligent in our endeavor. And to the extent possible, we should try to sleep early so that we can wake up in the morning and then complete our rounds, chant our rounds, or read Bhagavad Gita, read Srimad Bhagavatam in the morning hours. Another way of doing it is making ourselves accountable to the devotees, to other devotees. So when we have a morning japa session and we know who all come in that japa session, when somebody stop coming, we know they've stopped coming and we can call them and find out what's happening. So if you perform devotional service alone at home, you are not really visible to anybody. But when you do it in a group, like you're there in the class, you're asking a question, you become visible. You are now, your attendance is marked. So that way, you are making yourself accountable. And if you stop coming for few days, somebody can reach out to you and ask if everything is all right or why it's not been able to come. So by this also, we increase our probability of continuing in devotional service by this ways. So but again, it's not this is more of a generic answer that we should we should take very close mentoring from devotees. We should be uh, we should protect our mornings, and we should sleep early and wake up early and perform our sadhana with devotees as much as possible. And physical association is not possible, then we have Zoom association. We should do it in Zoom with devotees to the extent possible, so that we become accountable for our actions. And that way, whenever whenever we develop a lapse, whenever there is a lapse from our side, people can help us. People can, it's not to point that you're not doing it. The point is to help you. Point is to catch hold of you and help you navigate through the crisis that you might be facing, because of which you're not able to sleep early, not able to wake up early, and not able to chant. So that way, we work in a grahastha ashram. So we need to have a very close association of devotees in our life, and close mentors who can help us navigate through different difficulties that we will get ourselves into during the course of our life. It could be related to relatives, relation, to whatever we discussed today broadly covers large facets of our problem statements in a grahastha ashram. Problems related to our own mind, our own anxiety, our own issues, problems provided by other people, problem provided by our office, our business, or whatever, our finances in general. And so a close mentor can help us navigate through this, so that our bhakti becomes protected. It's not that he may not may not be able to guide you how to double your sales and increase your profit. That is something, this is a material problem. You will have to figure out a material solution yourself. But a mentor will help you, whether the profit double or not, or sales doubles or not, how your mala can increase, how you can become steady and consistent in performance of devotional service. That is what they can ensure, and that will be ultimately your success. Because end of your life, you will take this aspect with you, the devotional service with you to the next life. If you're finished, you will go back to Krishna. If you're not finished, you will start from where you left off. But this is what will get brought with what will be carried forward to your next life. None of the other things that you will be investing your time will come to the next life. So a mentor will help you protect your bhakti, your sadhana, and your Krishna consciousness. So this way, a grahastha should always have a mentor for them, and they will help them deal with in the particular situation in a particular point of time. Okay, Ruji?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
So I hope you have one, and if you don't, please message me. We will arrange for somebody to speak with you regular basis.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. I will.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Sadhana Mataji, yeah, if you are able to unmute now, you can ask a question if you have any. Oh, okay. I think she must have dropped. So let's conclude today's session. Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for staying back. We are slightly over time, and but we'll continue. We'll continue with the study of Bhagavad Gita with the same sincerity. Please do so. Please do so by practicing devotional service, doing japa every day, early in the morning, reading every day to the extent possible in the mornings, and staying in close contact with devotees. All of you should have a mentor. All of you should have a senior devotee, some devotee to go and talk to and discuss your problems. And that way, you should be able to be able to navigate through the crisis in our life, which as a matter of fact are surely going to come, will surely going to come. So it's just a matter of time when they will come. So have your anchors ready, have your help ready, and they keep performing bhakti nicely. So feel free to message me if you have any questions, and we'll be happy to revert back to you with the answers or with guidance, whatever I can provide. And that way we can continue to progress collectively in the Krishna consciousness, all of us together. Thank you so much. Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nittai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much.